Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video, we do have a nice big update on that Antminer S21, the new BTC miner coming from Bitmain. We do have the full official specs as well as prices, but not really, right? We'll talk about that here in a second as to why. So we're going to compare it against everything else that's on the market and see if this thing's going to be a worthwhile upgrade and if it's going to be worth the wait, right? So if that sounds good, guys, stay tuned, all right? So let's get to it. So shout out to the hash rate index for providing us with this information. Here are the specs. So we're going to focus on the air-cooled unit. They do have the hydro unit, but again, that's not really for retail for the at-home miners. That's for their containers, right? So S21, 200 terahash, 17.5 joules a terahash. Impressive unit, right? Pretty much in line with our estimate. We're expecting at least 200 terahash. I was personally predicting them to go slightly over, right? Just because that Desway is also 200. You would expect them to be petty and do 201, 205, do something, right? But no, it's a flat 200 at 17.5, right? And that's kind of in line with what we're expecting as well. Somewhere between 15 to 18, ideally closer to 15, 16. 16 was my personal guess. That would have made me a little more impressed, I guess. 17.5 is still good, though. Don't let me downplay it. I am kind of, it's going to sound like I'm going to downplay it, but very impressive unit overall, right? So let's compare it to the current king, right? It is from Desway, which is kind of surprising, right? Kind of smaller manufacturer, but it is from Desway. And this guy is coming in, has two modes, right? Normal mode is 170 terahash. The biggest thing is the efficiency, 20.5 joules a terahash, right? So it's not as impressive as the 17.5, but it's within, it's like about 15%, right? Pretty freaking close. Okay, so something to really, really factor in. This is the more fair comparison though. This is at 200 terahash, so equally as powerful there. And it brings it up to 22 joules a terahash. So this is closer to like a 20-ish% increased efficiency for the Bitmain unit, right? So definitely a nice upgrade. Price-wise though, right? So this guy is about $4,200, is available now, supposedly. BT Miners does have it listed on their site. Interesting, right? So the biggest drawback with the S21, the price. It's currently kind of unknown, right? They did list prices on here, but these are bulk order prices, right? So again, shout out to Hash Rate Index. This is on their website. So for phase one, this is for pre-orders, huge pre-orders, all the way to October 7th. This is their deal. $14 a terahash. Insane price, right? Also, insane MOQ. The MOQ to get this price tag, 1.2 exahash. That's the minimum order quantity, right? So when we break it down, comes down to 6,000 units, right? So 6,000 times $2,800 per unit. MOQ is nearly $17 million, right? So this is definitely not going to be us, right? This is going to be your Core Scientifics, your Maras. It's going to be your huge mining operations of the world, right? Which they're going to be ordering in bulk, right? We've covered those mining news articles. When they do these big purchases, they order in the tens of thousands of units, right? So although 6,000 is the minimum, don't be surprised in this coming week for them to release press releases showing how many they've purchased, right? When they do their quarterly stock reports, I'm sure we'll see it in there if we don't see any press releases this coming week from agreements that they have made at the show, right? So number one thing to think about is going to be a huge, huge increase in the overall difficulty, right? Especially when these units come online, but in a way it's going to kind of balance out. We'll talk about that here in a moment. So they do have another listing for phase two. So this will be after, which I'm not sure what the differences are going to be. I don't know if they're giving priority to mining operations, ordering that amount. I don't know if it's a smaller MOQ. Like, I don't think it's going to be anything for us, but still maybe for vendors, maybe where it's 1,000 units or something. I'm not sure as to what the details are, but at this point it goes up to 19.6 joules a terahash, so about $4,000. Then you got to factor in the markup, etc., etc. So expect this unit to run from 4,500 to 6K plus, right? And that's if they're able to qualify for that price bracket. Not even sure. I'm sure maybe we'll see in the coming days if any of these guys were able to finalize deals. I'm sure they'll put pre-order listings up. Then we can get a ballpark. But to me, the bigger factor, though, is the wait, right? This thing is not going to ship until it's a huge release window also. It's Q1 to Q2, right? So it's a huge release window. Who's going to get the first batches? The guys ordering in the tens of thousands, right? So there's a potential, especially if you're a small retail guy, ordering from a vendor that it's going to come well after the halving, potentially into the summer, right? And that's if there's no delays, nothing happens, etc., etc. To me, that's the bigger deal, right? To have to wait potentially 7+ months, that's a long time, right? And the bigger deal out of everything is the fact that it's going to be after the halving, right? You're going to lose all this time currently where you're essentially going to be mining at double the hash is the way to think about it, right? Currently between now and the halving. Okay, that to me that's a huge factor, and why me personally I would not wait until then, right? At least from the perspective of an at-home miner. Again, if you're setting up a huge operation, you're going to be ordering these things by the thousands anyway, and you're not going to be up by then. Whole different story, right? But for me, being a small-time guy, even somebody ordering maybe 2-3 of these things, to me, it's not going to make a whole lot of sense to wait all that time for it, right? It's going to definitely, if you're interested in going to that venture, looking at machines that are currently available now just because they're currently at essentially like rock bottom prices, right? So let's look. So mine, the ASIC does actually have their little calculator up, although in reality it's kind of giving you false hope because again, you're not going to get this thing until after the halving. So even prior to the halving, this is something really to factor in too, is that even at current difficulty, current price, this thing, the biggest deal yet for BTC mining, is not even making $4 profit a day, right? So something to factor in. After the halving, if things were to stay the same, again, your income, cut it in half, $6.15, and then $8.52 for electric at a 10-cent kilowatt hour, be at a $2 a day loss, right? And at the same time, that's also kind of misleading because then what's going to happen, right? After the halving, pretty much any at-home miner, anybody with like above a 5-cent kilowatt hour, especially with older units, will likely be unplugging because it's going to be borderline extremely unprofitable, right? If it's one thing, if it's a couple of cents unprofitable a day, it's going to be pretty significant, right? So who's going to be mining during that time? It's going to be the farms with like a 7 or 5-cent kilowatt hour price, right? So these guys are going to be continuing to mine during that time. These guys are going to be the ones having these units. They're the ones going to be running the network. So again, the difficulty will adjust. How crazy will that adjustment be? We don't really know. But factor in that, okay, even your anticipation is that, well, come the bull market, we'll be in full swing. We will, but it just really depends on how bullish you are on BTC, right? Like me personally, my prediction window is between 80 to 100K, right? So I'm more on the modest side and more on the low end side. But if you feel confident this thing is going to hit over 200K, we got so much bullish, this is going to be the biggest thing in the world, then maybe. But you got to factor in that even right now, the freaking difficulty is like at all times high, even with probably the majority of people, including farms, being on like low power modes. So factor in the tens of thousands of S21s that are going to be coming, flooding the market, all the old ass S9s and everything that are currently unplugged. So just imagine what the hash rate is going to be come the beginning of 2025 when we're in full swing of this thing, right? It's just going to be immense, right? So just some things to think about. Now, though, not saying it's all doom and gloom for at-home miners, right? You got to factor in also BTC is the only one that is not necessarily 100% for sure. Again, none of this is financial advice, but it's as close to a sure thing as you can get in crypto, right? There's still a lot of stuff going on with regulations, especially with alts, right? A lot of these other altcoin miners are very tempting, but number one, it's a lot riskier. Any of those can not necessarily rug, but they can go to zero. Something can happen, a hack can happen, and anything can happen, right? The same thing's not very likely to happen with Bitcoin, right? So although yes, the yield will be smaller, rewards will be smaller in comparison to those. I mean, in reality, it's still a good deal overall. But these are the types of things you really got to think about. It's risk versus reward, right? It would be a good way to diversify. That's why it's kind of still on my window, just because, again, I'm heavy into alts, right? Any of these can go to zero. Freaking KDA can go, anything can happen, right? I don't think so, though. A lot of these have been around a while. I'm not that much of a crazy degen, but anything can happen, guys, right? Versus this way would be a good way to diversify and get something that's more steady and consistent, right? Although right now, most of them are barely break even, so just something to factor in there, right? Now, would I wait for one of these things, though? No, right? If I were interested in getting one, which I kind of, depending on the price points, the ones I would consider are the ones that are currently out now, right? Either some of these new guys, which are efficient and cheap, even some of these older models, the older S19s, S19Js, they're at rock bottom prices, right? Realistically, a lot of these things I do not think are going to go much lower, right? They may go a tad bit lower. I don't see them going much lower, right? So like to me, bang for the buck wise, S19K Pro, not a bad bet, right? Even in comparison to the S21, right? 17.5 joules a terahash to 23 joules a terahash. It's like 25%. Yes, it's a big difference, but in reality, for the price and the availability now, the fact that you'd be able to have 7 months to mine on it prior to the halving, stuff to think about, right? Especially considering this guy's coming in at 2,000 bucks, right? Yeah, Altair Tech. Again, there's links in the description if you guys are interested. Another thing to factor in are used miners, right? So like Coastal, for example, they have used 95 terahash units at 625 bucks. $625, guys. Like realistically, there's just not a whole lot of room for them to go down. And even if they were to go down, let's say something crazy happened and it dropped 50%. 600 bucks to 300 bucks isn't that big of a deal, right? 2,000 to 1,000, okay, I get it, but realistically, these things are just not gonna go a whole lot lower, right? And it's very likely that come the bull market, again, even if the profitability isn't the craziest, you're gonna be able to flip this thing. I highly doubt this thing is gonna go for anything less than like 2,000 bucks, right? Who knows how crazy BTC gets, but even just from that perspective, right? Like if I had the room for it, if you get them cheap enough, just freaking stack these things, right? Right now, currently a lot of them are break even. Mine right now, all the way to the halving, unplug, bull market comes, either plug back in for a little while, make some more money, or just flip them at that point for like a nice little 3x, right? Just the kind of things you got to factor in. Like for me, just the biggest thing is the wait, right? Waiting for this one or the Canaan, or even potentially the M60. What's Miner's supposed to debut theirs next month, right? It's probably going to be the same time window. It's going to be after the halving, right? Hopefully I'm wrong. Maybe that one comes out sooner. Maybe that one might be better. We'll see what their specs are. Hopefully, pretty good chance that they may be better than Bitmain, right? Kind of speculated that early on just because they were the first to get access to those 3nm chips. And as we have seen, they already have a unit utilizing those chips also, right? So we'll see how all of this plays out. We'll see how everything goes. But realistically, again, overall, impressive unit, right? I know it kind of sounds like I'm downplaying it. It is an impressive unit. We'll see what the retail prices are. Again, hopefully maybe this week we'll start seeing some prices. Some of the early listings have it anywhere from like 5 to 6,500, but I think a lot of them are placeholder prices. It's hard to really tell what's going to be the actual price and what's not. But again, factor in that wait, guys. You're not going to get this thing until way after the halving. Currently, if you were to order one that's in stock now or available now, you have a nice 7 months, right? To at least make a good part of your portion back, right? Because it's probably going to be tough times unless you have crazy cheap power, right? If you have like 5 cent kilowatt hour, then this might be your thing, right? But for most of us have 10 cent or above, right? So again, just things to think about, guys. Again, it's not all doom and gloom for BTC mining. I would still definitely consider getting one, but it's just, I'm more of a degen, right? There's just more, upside with a lot of the alts. Again, for you guys who watch my goals video, I have more of a set plan to maximize this cycle more than anything, right? So again, you have to think about your plan, what your processes are, what your thoughts are, where your things are going, right? Maybe by the time my second full cycle, I'll kind of turn into like a BTC maxi, because that tends to be the cycle, right? A lot of people in their first cycles, when they make a bulk of their money, every cycle after that tends to be more like a preservation of wealth, right? That's when you see everybody turn into BTC maxis after that, right? But again, for me, my personal goal, I'm trying to maximize this cycle, and that's why I'm probably almost exclusively focusing on alts, right? So let me know in the comments, guys. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Are you guys pre-ordering one? Are you guys gonna do that crazy wait? Again, everybody's in different boats, right? Everybody has different opinion of things, and it's up to you, right? So let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, guys. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and I am out.